Welcome to Third Act Film. This is a long time coming. We get to talk about Game of Thrones once again. Here with me is Todd James.
Hello.
I'm James Forbes.
Hello, James Forbes.
Now in this video, we've got many videos coming, okay? Don't you worry, we sorted you out. This video, we're going to be talking about episodes 1 to 5 of Season 6, giving our opinions on that. And then there'll be a follow-up video talking about episodes 6 till 10. Alright. So, episode 1, The Red Woman. This was, oh yeah, spoilers. For a review of something. It's a spoiler, yeah. Red Woman, this was, after the climatic end of season 5, with Jon Snow's death, and then death. And then we get we're back at the wall. I'm going straight for this part, but even though it was at the end of the episode, back at the wall with the Red Woman. Were you shocked at all about that whole sequence of events?
No. I mean, it was an alright start. The first episode of the season is always a little bit, not weak, but it's just kind of reminding you where everyone is and it's setting things up. And the thing that really stood out to me about this episode was the very last shot. I think it was the last shot where you see Melisandre is actually like a really old, wrinkly woman.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of a time when she was in, I think they were at Dragonstone.
Yeah.
And she was like, most of the stuff I do is just for show.
Yeah.
And I was like, that it goes right down to even the way she looks. Yeah. Like everything about... And it made me think as well, has the god she believes in given her like youth as well? Or is that just some crazy magic amulet?
Yeah, well, there was the kind of... One side of it was arguing, was it the amulet that she was wearing, or was it just that she, because the camera panned at some potions that were on the desk as she was looking at her old body. I believe in they have kind of a making of the Thrones or some show like that, and they said it wasn't the amulet. Like there's scenes with her without the amulet on and still looking young. That it is the potions, and that it's a show. Yeah, like you're saying, that she is a master of deception. Yeah. Deceptive hard as hell. What else happened in the episode was Daenerys, after being brought back to season 1.
In fact, the whole sort of first half of the season for her was quite
weak.
I mean, I understand it was necessary to get her where she was going, but the whole thing with her in going to the land of the Dothraki and going to the tent and stuff, it was all a little bit.
I was a bit annoyed and frustrated when in the previous season, it was building, and then that kind of tension all blew away. I mean, I think literally, George R. R. Martin and the writers of this have literally taken the advice of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, literal. Like, she's gone too far now, so we need to drag her all the way back to season 1.
Yeah.
But I think the way that kind of storyline ended...
there was a good enough payoff to make me... It wasn't like Dawn in the last season where I was like, what the hell was that all for?
Yeah, we got to last episode of Dawn.
And we got a bit of Dawn in episode 1 of this.
Oh, yeah!
And they played it like it was a big significant thing.
Yeah.
Where they all killed Alexander Siddig, whatever his name was. And they were like, we're taking over now!
Yeah.
And clearly there was no change. Because we didn't see them again for 8 hours.
Yeah, that was really weird. Because when that's happened, you're like, oh my god, there's going to be turmoil. People are going to be annoyed that their leader is going to be killed.
It's going to be like the battle for the Iron Throne again.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
And the fact that no one in King's Landing even spoke about it, that the King of Dawn has been killed. Like when when a lot of the kings die, it's a big deal. Even the King of the Greyjoys, when he died, people were like, oh no.
They at least had a meeting to discuss what was going to happen next.
We have to elect a new one. Yeah. But this guy, they're like, didn't like him anyway. Maybe that was the consensus, that the people of Dawn, they'd rather him be dead.
Yeah.
What else did we have? We had Ramsay sending his dogs after Theon and Sansa after they made that miraculous jump.
Not a hugely interesting story, but the payoff, in fact, for all angles, for Theon, the Greyjoy story in this season was by far the most interesting we've seen. From them, I mean. The Sansa story all came good in the end. And, well, we all know what happened with the Ramsay story. So...
Yeah. I think they needed to get them out of Winterfell, and it was a great opportunity with the whole battle against Stannis, if you remember from last season. That they jump into the snow. I'm glad they didn't pick up literally from them falling, because a lot of people were annoyed. They're like, "Well, you can't survive a jump that high." I'm like, "Yeah, but there's also dragons."
Yeah, but there's mammoths riding giants. So.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
wait, the other way around.
Yeah.
Giants
riding mammoths. Yeah.
Hello. The other thing that got was a good Brienne and Pod moment when they came and rescued them.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that was a really
sword,
a dramatic punch in the
yeah.
action sequence there. I loved it. I loving the fact that Pod's getting slowly trained. In a later episode, we see him get slightly trained by.
Wait, you see him get slapped in the face.
He gets slapped in the face, yeah. But
it's all important lessons.
It's all important lessons, and I don't know. Pod's storyline is he's obviously a supporting character, and he does what he's told, and but he's still quite interesting. I'm still like, yeah, I like him.
Yeah,
which probably means he'll die soon.
I'm interested to see where he goes.
Yeah. And then Tyrion and Marine. There wasn't too much.
Again, I feel like I'm being quite down on this. That started quite slow as well.
Yeah. Especially, I think for a lot of people, they were just like, "Where's Jon Snow?"
Yeah, at the start, that is what it was all about.
Yeah. Then we move on to episode 2, Home.
Not Hard Home.
Not Hard Home.
Just regular home.
Just a regular home.
Right.
This is where we meet up with Bran. Tommen is with Cersei. Well, he's always with Cersei.
Yeah.
With the Tommen and Cersei relationship throughout this, I think they did really well showing. I mean, it's quite a complex situation Cersei's in with her son. That she loves him so much, and she completely wants to protect him, but she's so jaded and is so defensive of that because she's in that mode. She sees anyone and everything as a threat. So she's putting these wheels into motion for what they call the Sparrows to get control and become this religious police, and then her directly suffering from that. But you kind of see ultimately she loves Tommen, but Tommen ultimately wants to be a good king.
Yeah,
which is so weird.
And do you remember there was the speech when he first became king, and Tywin gave him the speech. This is last season sometime, and he was like, "Tell me about King something," and he was like, "Oh, he was brave," and then he was like, "Yes, he was brave, but he blah 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 blah." And I think that kind of Tommen really really wanted what was best. He just had so many bad voices in his ears, sort of thing.
And he was the sweet child, and he's probably has been the best thing for Westeros. He's actually, it's kind of weird. The only people, it's Game of Thrones, so he's killed the good guys here, but everyone who wants to do best for the realm, bar a couple, have died for it. Mainly Stannis, who finally understood that he shouldn't rule the realms, that he should look after the realms, and then that will lead him to ruling it. I can't really. To be honest, though, I can't really remember much from this one. So I'm.
Was this the one where Jon Snow came back, or was that episode 3?
I don't know. I think he came back already. The fate of Jon Snow is revealed in the first episode. I think he came back first episode.
No, it definitely wasn't the first one.
Oh yeah, because they did have the standoff.
Bran was in this one.
Yeah,
I was really interested to get back with him.
Yeah.
Because that was it was left in such an interesting place, and then we just didn't hear from it for ages. But I really liked seeing. Did we get a vision from him in this episode? His first.
I'm not 100% on that one, but
right,
we might. Well, they must have. I feel like we got a vision before the Tower of Joy one, didn't we?
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was when they were all younger. And we got
we first saw Hodor as a young man. He was like, "Willis, you can talk."
Oh dear. Oh, Willis.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's
move on. So the next one was Oathbreaker. It's episode 3. Daenerys arrives at the Dothrak place.
Yeah.
Again, pointless.
It just took a bit too long.
Yeah, it's just upsetting when her storyline involves the Unsullied, potential war on the horizon in Marine, and then she's just out with a bunch of horsemen, just like, ugh.
Yeah.
A bit down on that. Sam and Gilly them two leaving and Sam throwing up. I believe that's the episode.
That was all right. Nice little bit of... I liked following Sam every now and then.
Yeah.
Because really the only major place we hadn't seen is where he was headed.
Yeah.
So I was looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, there are two places he headed. He's kind of expended them out, hasn't he? Both for Hornhill and the Citadel, yeah. Arya's storyline, we haven't actually mentioned... I'm not sure she's actually appeared in the episode before this, but Arya training with the No One people being blind and then kind of daredeviling it up.
Yeah. Again, a lot of these... You see, at the time, I was like, these are all great. Talking about it, it sounds like I'm really down on it. They were all good episodes.
Yeah.
But now we know where it went. Like, the highs that it reached.
Sense,
yeah.
It all makes sense. Right. The next one, Book of the Stranger. I mean, we've missed a bunch in Oathbreaker, actually. I might go back. When Tommen and the High Sparrow, their kind of new relationship that they're forming. Man.
That made me angry.
It was the kind of, again, Tommen, who wants to be a good king, sitting down. I love the one scene that they have where Tommen in his, all his gold and his soldiers behind him, with the High Sparrow by himself in a rag. And then how, even though Tommen has all of the power, he didn't in that room. And so, like, the High Sparrow says, "Oh, do you mind if I sit down?" So he sits down, and then Tommen has to sit down next to him, and he literally brings him down to his own level. I thought all of that was great. I thought it was...
Yeah, and that was... It kind of showed as well. He might have Cersei on one hand, telling him bad things, but equally, the High Sparrow, what he's saying is just as bad, really.
Was it? Well,
ultimately, the High Sparrow wanted the same thing. He wanted power over the city for his own. He might have stated it as, "Oh, this is for, I'm doing it for the gods."
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what you mean it for. That he's trying to achieve the same thing.
Yeah. But I still felt it's kind of weird in this kind of world. The kind of justice system is a bit skewered. You can fight to prove your innocence and stuff like that. So when you have someone who says, if you have committed a crime, you will be punished, and he is unwavering on that, it's not the opinion of a person, it's the opinion of God.
Yeah.
It's a kind of more solid base to grow from, rather than, if you're a king or queen, you can do whatever the hell you want. But if you're part of the royal family for 5 seasons, And it was kind of weird that in this story we've managed to turn a justice system similar to ours to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
The kind of laws and foundations of morality and stuff that we are keen to has been made as the evil person in the form of the Sparrow. But ultimately, I thought this was where it was kind of heading up. We're at episode 3 now, 2 away from one of the better episodes, one of the best episodes. Moving on to episode 4, Book of the Stranger. This was where Sansa arrived at Castle Black.
This was a good moment.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
even though I don't care about Sansa, never really have.
Yeah,
having something actually happen with her, because I think my issue is for so long she's just kind of been there.
Yeah.
And now it was finally like, okay.
Well, she's always been there, and then there's a scene where you're like, and she's in the game, and then nothing happens again.
Game. Yeah.
And she's in the game. I worry with Sansa's storyline throughout this. Is it the same?
It'll be like, she's back,
and she's back.
Episode 1 really. Next season, she's there like, oh, I'm so depressed.
Yeah. Tyrion made a deal with the slave master. We kind of brushed over Tyrion's storyline here because it's a kind of. It was kind of political filler, and they had to do something with Meereen whilst Daenerys isn't there. Mm-hmm. Tyrion did save the place. I know it's a comparison to Abe Lincoln, our favourite president.
Sure.
In the sense that if you want to end slavery, you can't just say no more slavery because people's lives depend on it. So it's an attack on not only their culture but their livelihood. So he's saying. Slavery will end in this time frame.
Yeah.
Then it's more sensible and it's more achievable. So it was that weird compromise, and it worked out.
And I feel like he really showed that he kind of knows what he's doing a bit more than Daenerys in a lot of places, because she knows what she wants, and she's like, we're just going to do that. And you know what I mean? And he's like, okay, but let's get there. Because where it showed when she went to, is it Karth and Yunkai, she did what she wanted there, and then as soon as she left, they were like, oh, okay, she's gone. Whereas he's like, well, if we stabilise it all,
and then actually can have peace.
And I think this is the same episode where him and Varys met with one of the Red Priestesses.
Okay.
And that was a great moment where, for the first time ever, she was talking to Varys, and she was like, what was it the voice said to you from the fire? And he was like...
The first time we've seen Varys sweat.
He was like actually like a bit shook by it.
The other parts was Jorah and Dario seeking to Dothraki, and this is where they save... what's her name?
Daenerys, yeah.
The main person, yeah. This is where they save her, and then she gets saved, and she's like, I've got a plan.
Yeah. And like, great, thanks. We worked really hard on this plan.
Yeah. But it was kind of... I get the timing. They didn't want to dwell too much, but there was a kind of promise of that she's going to live in this encampment forever and just live as a Dothraki widow. And then have an opportunity to leave. I don't know, it's a bit contrived just to get to that scene of it all burning down, her walking out unburned and such. But also, that scene is really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a lot of my criticism of the show. It's like, that was really contrived, but the end outcome was amazing.
That end, though.
That end, though, yeah.
But also, it might be contrived, but I feel like I've said this a bunch of times, it kind of all was good. It all is good when you're watching it.
Yeah.
All pretty good.
Yeah, I respect the fact that they were trying to show, because one of our predictions from when we would finish watching last season was she's going to get kidnapped, and then her dragon's going to show up and save her. And they knew that we thought that. They knew that's how it would, be, and they challenged that. And they were like, actually, she
don't need no dragons.
Yeah, she doesn't need no dragons. I am a bit, but then equally, she's also got magic on her side, you know what I mean? Like, because she can't be burnt, that's the only way that circumstance could have happened. So it kind of, I'm like, I wish it was more of a, slightly in a different way. I mean, it's a great scene and all, but if it didn't rely on her magic or her dragons, and it's just the fact that she is Daenerys and she's a capable person in her own right, yeah. But that's about it. But that scene, still great. One of the best scenes in the season, harking back to the end of season 1, where she was being reborn there as well. Ramsay receives a gift. I do not remember that.
Anyone remember Ramsay's gift?
Ramsay receives a gift. When was the point when Ramsay killed his dad? That was this season, wasn't it?
Oh, the gift being Rickon Stark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Rickon's dog, Shaggy Dog, is dead.
Yeah. One of Rickon's 2 scenes this year.
And did Rickon even say anything the whole season?
Maybe. I don't think he did.
I'm not sure if he
sort
did.
of looked scared.
Yeah.
And then 5 episodes later, he looked dead.
Yeah. I remember with the Umbers showing up and saying
the
Umbers.
Umbers.
The Umbers.
Right.
There was a conspiracy at the time when this episode was out that the Umbers were actually
just playing
with the Starks and were just playing them, and then they killed I forgot the name, the wildling woman.
Osha.
They kill her, and then you're a bit like, maybe
they've really
maybe
committed
not.
to this.
This is a deep plan. This is deeply intertwined, and didn't really turn out that way. It is what it is. Next episode 4. Oh my god, we're only on episode 4.
How can we only be at 4?
Yeah, no.
You see, this is how interesting.
No, we're not on episode 4.
No, we're not. What are we at?
Episode 4. We've spoken about that. Cool.
Yeah.
Episode 5.
Right.
The Door. The one we want to talk about.
Was that number 5?
Yeah, I know.
Jesus, this was up until 9 and 10. This was the best episode of Game of Thrones there'd ever been for me, and it still might be.
It's just the payoff, isn't it? How long have we it's something that we didn't even know that we wanted, and didn't know that there was an answer to.
A character we didn't know we cared about that much.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are upset. Some people are upset just with the phrase "the door." They get a bit teary-eyed. Yeah,
stop it.
But a great episode showing Willis and showing the kind of trouble it is with time travel and warging and back and forth and
how much power Bran. Like there are people who have different levels of power, and you're like, oh, so who's the best fighter?
Yeah.
Oh, like Jon Snow's great, Bronn is great, and then you get people like, you know, Robert Strong, aka the Mountain, like, well, he's more powerful than that, and then you're like, oh, there's the Night's King, and then you're like, hold on, Bran can time travel and go to anywhere he wants at any point in time.
Yeah,
but he's like a lifeless corpse while he does it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was in this episode or not, but it was. Oh, it might have been. No, it was the next episode. Sorry, when he had he started having flashbacks.
There were a few. This was the one when he saw everything. I think, and this is the one where he saw like the Mad King getting killed by Jaime.
I'm just looking at the thumbnail. That's in the next one.
Oh right, my mistake.
Yeah, because that was when. So they've just gotten away.
Yeah.
And then they're in the middle of nowhere and they're being chased down by more. And then that's when Cold Hands.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
So in those, I just want to talk about it briefly. We'll talk about it more in the next episode. But that it wasn't just flashbacks he was having, and that it was he is able to actually see the future. One of the wildling fire scene.
It was proven later that one of the shots he saw
actually came to fruition.
The Sept of Baelor, I want to say.
Yeah.
AKA the big church.
Yeah.
Going bye-bye.
But, yeah, so he not only can he see the past, he can see the future. It's weird as into what kind of time travel this is. He had some sort of involvement. He can change some things, like when he sees his father when he's younger at the Tower of Joy. He's able to call to him, but did he just turn around because he just always turned around? Or did he turn around because he called him? Obviously, he can have an effect because he's able to walk. You know, the kind of that sequence with Willis and Hodor, being that he was in the past and walked into the past Hodor to connect him to the present Hodor, implies that perhaps he can take control of people in the past, and perhaps his part. You know, what thing that set up this whole story did Bran do? All right, what did Bran do?
It's gonna come back again. Something we've seen in seasons 1 through 5. We're gonna see Bran influence it at some point.
I know there's rumours. Some people feel as though perhaps Bran is the one who made the Mad King crazy, and perhaps in a way to try and save the whole world, he's like, well, if I just stop the Mad King from being mad, then it'll be fine. Yeah. And it causes him to, and there's the voices in the Mad King's head.
The other thing people say is that maybe he walks into Jaime Lannister and has him push himself out of the window.
Yeah.
Because Jaime, he's not perfect, but he certainly, is not a child murderer. Right? You know what I mean, though? And that is like actually bad, like an actual evil, uncharacteristic thing for him to do.
Oh, the things I do for love.
Right? / incest.
Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway.
Because I've heard that as well, and I'm just a bit like, okay, he goes back, he pushes Bran out the window, but why would Bran stop it? Maybe if he thinks... Maybe both are right.
If he keeps his legs, he's never going to meet Hodor.
Yeah.
And if he never meets Hodor, he dies.
Yeah.
If he keeps his legs, maybe they take him to King's Landing with him rather than leaving him up at Winterfell.
Yeah.
He never becomes a 3-eyed raven.
Would that... Is this... Are we leading in towards endgame territory of Game of Thrones? It kind of ends with Bran. Because I believe in the books, the first chapter is with Bran.
Right.
Also as well, like, just from a kind of writing standpoint, being an aspiring writer that I am, oh my god, the books I've written. I wonder sometimes what kicked off the Game of Thrones story for George R.R. Martin. What was the starting idea?
What story did he want to tell at first?
Yeah,
that was then embellished to the point of being what
it is now. Did he come up with the idea of someone being able to mind control people, and then did he lead that into the whole idea of of being able to kind of walk into someone else throughout time. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, oh, that's really cool. And then weave this massive story around it. Was Bran's storyline the kind of... He already thought of the end of the story and how Bran's powers potentially can influence that. And then wrote a story around it.
Or did he come up with... The one you would think is... Did he come up with, the Battle for the Seven Kingdoms? Yeah. But then the whole first season / book, it doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
And then the whole White Walkers, Essos, Dragons, that part, where did that come from?
Yeah. What was his original... I would love to see some really early drafts of it. And you might be able to pinpoint what is more important to George R. R. Martin as a writer and what is the idea that he wanted to get out. Or is it more complex than that? Maybe he had a whole pool of ideas already from, he's been writing for years.
He just crudely pasted them together and it turned out to be a masterpiece.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this one. I know we've kind of butchered this a bit, but please forgive us.
It's our thoughts. 5 weeks after it happened.
Yeah, 5 weeks after it happened. We don't really have the capability to do it week by week, so we've done it in this way. If you want to share your thoughts about episodes 1 to 5, we've also got another video, which there'll be a link here or at the end of the video to see that, which will discuss episodes 6 to 10.
Well, it's probably going to come out after this one. So if you're frantically clicking it, where's the link? It's because it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. I've been James Forbes.
I've been Todd James.
Bye. You know what I'm saying?
It's coming down.
It is
that
coming
wall is coming down at some
down.
point. Yeah.
It is coming down.
From showing her, just chopping him in half.
Yeah. Game of Thrones ain't shy to that. Oh, yeah. You know that woman that everyone spat on and walked down naked down the street? Yeah, she's now in charge.